This video is dedicated to Christian Roberts. Christian, thank you. Arjun the Shifting Flame versus O-Kagachi Vengeful Kami, Belbe Corrupted Observer, and Orvar the All Form. And we've got a pretty good opening hand actually, so we will keep that. Last in the turn order, unfortunately. Turn 1 Sol Ring probably means a turn 2 Orvar, and just a couple of tap lands from the other two players. Volatile Fjord, I don't think we're going to go for. Let's drop the Volcanic Island and we'll go Mystic Remora. And then we might as well drop down the Spellbook as well. Argument to be made for us going for the Vandal Blast there, but I don't mind making an enemy out of the Orvar. And in my experience, the Orvar wants to make lots and lots and lots of artifacts, so if we can go Vandal Blast and blow all of those up, then we might take them out of the game. Alright, going for a Mystical Tutor as opposed to their commander. So we'll draw a card with that, get into Is It Signet. They went for Sullen Division, which is just a means of them tutoring for a land, because they didn't get to make a second land there, unfortunately. And there is another Sol Ring. So I'm wondering if we go for a turn 3 Vandal Blast with Seething Song then. That does mean leaving an Orvar in play though. Although, if they're getting down a tap land, then they can't get down Orvar next turn, can they? Skyclave Relic is not going to get wrapped up in a Vandal Blast, because it's indestructible. Then Magus of the Candelabra. And it's just some blue mana being held up over here, so I think we have to lose the Mystic Remora. Players are going to be looking in our direction just because of Mystic Remora anyway. And we get into Wheel of Misfortune. Let's go for the... We'll go for the red side of this land, and then we'll drop the Is It Signet. And then we can get down the tap land next turn, go for the Seething Song, and go for Vandal Blast if we want to. And there we go, getting down the tap land. If they manage to get their commander out somehow anyway, I dare say that there might be some counter magic held up over here, although maybe not. There might not be room for much control in an O-Kagachi deck, because they've got to focus on fixing their colours. This deck is brought to us by Christian Roberts, by the way. Big thank you to Christian, mythic patron of the channel. Has been a supporter for a long time and brought us this deck because he's a mythic patron. He gets to submit a deck once a month. Link is in the description if you want to support on Patreon. I'd be very much appreciative of that. It's pretty much the thing that is dictating whether or not I carry on with this channel. We'll see how it fares over the next few months. We get hit by a 1-2 Magus of the Candelabra, and then the Corrupted Observer added a couple of mana there, and we drew a card because they went for the Makokoro as well, so drawing into a Prismatic Vista just in case we need an untapped land next turn. And that is Sanctum of Fruitful Harvest, so I'm guessing it's a 5-colour shrine deck. Alright, and another land for us, so I think we definitely have to go for the Seething Song then. It's a shame to use mana on a Vandal Blast, but it should slow down the other two players a decent amount. Cast the Vandal Blast with Overload just to get rid of these Sol Rings, and then we'll play out a tap land, and that can be us done. We're all on a more even playing field now. Luckily, the Orvar player managed to get into another island. They went for Shadow Rift. Target creature gains shadow until the end of the turn, just doing that to draw a card. So we might still see Orvar next turn, going for more targeted stuff to draw cards. So not sure if they managed to get into a land or not there, but they used a couple of their targeted stuff at least. We get the Belbe, and Magus of the Candelabra goes to the right, the Orvar player being ignored for some reason. And then following things up with a 3 visits. They have added some mana thanks to their commander. And they've got 8 mana in total after that, and that allows them to go for Zendikar Resurgent. So, yeah, in an Izzet deck we're not going to do a whole lot about enchantments. Yep, definitely a shrine deck, Sanctum of All, being hard cast over here, so definitely need to start seeing some enchantment removal. A Personal Tutor Yeah, well, we want a land anyway. So we'll crack the Prismatic Vista. Gonna grab an island here because we do have High Tide in the deck. And Psychosis Crawler comes down as a 5/5. And with the 2 mana, we can't do anything, unfortunately. Now let's see if we get an Orvar into play here. They might not want to slam Orvar and just not do anything. Well, apparently they do. I imagine they can't target anything with Orvar because obviously they've tapped out. Maybe they've got a Mox or something like that. Kenrith's transformation going on to the Orvar, so Orvar getting hated out here. For obvious reasons, for any of you that have seen this deck go off, it can do some crazy things. Even more enchantments, a Wound Reflection, and it was 2 damage dealt to the 5 colour player here, by the way, so that got doubled up by the Wound Reflection. Sanctum of All triggering for the first time. They went for Honden of Seeing Winds. Draw a card for each shrine you control. And Crackling Doom tells us to sacrifice our commanders and the Psychosis Crawler. So I might continue to set up, might go for the Locust God on our next turn, Demonic Tutor from the 5 colour player. Might go Locust God, and then we can go Personal Tutor next turn, draw into probably a Windfall with Cathartic Reunion, and then get a bunch of insects into play. Start swinging in at this 5 colour player. The Orvar player getting angry that he's being targeted. I mean, it's Orvar, I don't really know what you expect. Anyway, that is Mirror Maid coming in as a copy of Sanctum of All. So they bin the original Sanctum of All and keep the copy. Not sure what their aim is there. Maybe they're protecting themselves against wraths. They can pull this out of the bin again or something. I don't really know what the script is there. Anyway, we draw into Mana Crypt. Let's shuffle our library around first, because I'm not sure if we want to go for a tutor this turn then. Grabbing a basic island. And we'll drop the Mana Crypt. I think we just have to go Cathartic Reunion, to be honest, because it'll put some insects into play. I don't really care for Wheel of Misfortune, because it's a bit too random for my liking. And if we go Personal Tutor, then they know what is coming next turn. Maybe we just don't do anything, actually, because we need to be able to draw into what we tutor for with the Reunion. Let's get down the Locust God anyway. I mean, we could always draw into what we tutor for, but it'll cost 4 mana. So that's 5 mana taken up just to get into a card, and then we could wheel after that. That relies on the fact that we don't lose mana. I think I'm just going to pretend to hold up counter magic here. Might discourage people from pointing removal at the Locust God. But any removal pointed there is not pointed at our commander, at least. There is Pongify onto the Locust God. I mean, we'll get it back anyway eventually. So maybe we do just play that out again next turn. Going for Rapid Hybridization onto the Candelabra as well. So thanks to the clause, we get Locust God back at the end of the turn. And like I said, might just... all of our scoops. They've been complaining this whole time in the chat. So, no surprise that they decided to scoop on us. The Palace Siege, don't know if we ever looked at the mode for that, but each opponent loses 2 and you gain 2. So anyway, the Locust God comes back to our hand there. Might just recast that during our turn. The Belbe comes back into play, and they've still got the double mana, and they draw a card from casting that. 3 in hand currently. Frog Lizard goes towards us. We'll just trade them that, because I'm not going to be held hostage by a 3/3 the whole game. And now it is Staff of Nin as well. They got a bunch of mana from the Belbe. They got a bunch of mana from the Palace Siege, losing life. So getting themselves into Staff of Nin and a Trinosphere. Each spell that would cost less than 3 mana will cost 3 mana to cast. Excellent. This time the Shrine player goes for Honden of Cleansing Fire. Gain 2 life for each shrine you control. And it's Archon of Sun's Grace. So whenever they cast these enchantments, they'll get into Pegasus tokens. And throwing out 2 Vass of the Sunlit as well, so they have made an Enchantress variant, which makes complete sense. Also getting into a Mirage Mirror. They'll have to be careful turning that into Hondens and Sanctums and things like that, because they are legendary. Then it's round to our turn. Hopefully we don't get bolted here, because Wind Reflection will make it 6. And we do get bolted. Alright, Temple of the False God is some extra mana. Do we just go Locust God here? It's going to be a 3 mana personal tutor, unfortunately. We'll get the Locust God down again, and then we have to discard 2 cards to the Cathartic Reunion. Wheel of Misfortune is just too dangerous with Wind Reflection in play. It's way too random as well, like I said, so yeah, I'm not going to put like 10 life into Wind Reflection or Wheel of Misfortune and then take a further 10 from Wind Reflection, so I think we're just continuing to hold up the cards that we've got, and we'll have to dump 6 mana into this stuff here. Maybe, screw it, let's just go for the Personal Tutor now. We just got some extra mana from the Belbe, so going for Personal Tutor now, we can Windfall. We're going to refill on a Windfall the Golgari player's hand with double mana, unfortunately, but I mean, that's the aim of this deck. There's not really much else we can do in it. Anyway, Twilight Prophet is going to have us lose some life here. Or not, because they reveal a swamp with that. They'll draw an extra card with the Staff of Nin as well. So already jumping up to 4, I don't feel too bad about the Windfall if they manage to keep cards in hand. We gained some mana, by the way, during our turn from the Belbe because we got shocked or bolted by the Mana Crypt. And then we got bolted again by the Wound Reflection. World Breaker now. And that, I mean, surely that gets rid of the Sanctum of All, but no, going for one of our lands instead. Maybe they worried about counter magic or something. Then the Staff of Nin, I think that got tapped and dealt damage to the player directly over here, the Sanctums player. Tapping down a bunch of mana. 3 cards left in hand. And that is Exsanguinate, where X is 10, so that's us done. Wind Reflection takes us both out. Yeah, I mean, I'll be straight with you. This is the 4th attempt that I've made to get a game with this, so I must apologise to Christian Roberts, but I cannot spend any more time trying to get a video here. I'm going to try and get a decent game in with this commander again, but if this is the one that you see, just know that it's the best of a bad bunch. Yeah, I have other patrons to get games for as well, plus all of the other stuff, so this is the best I can do, I'm afraid, so apologies if that isn't satisfactory for you. Hopefully you all enjoyed the game. I'm Tribalkai on the EDH channel. Thank you for watching.